Washington School Committee to order. The reason why I'm calling the meeting to order and not our chair is that tonight is our reorganization. So once a year, I actually get to start a meeting. So my moment of fame is now done. And I would like to call for nominations for a chair.
I would like to nominate John to be our chair yet again. I can't think of anybody better for the position, and his leadership over the past 4 years has been exemplary, and I would appreciate it if you would consider giving us another year of his time.
Okay. A second?
Second.
Great. Are there any other nominations?
See how quick they were?
Yeah, I noticed that. Any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Excellent.
thank you.
Great.
So now we get to continue on that path. I would look for a nomination for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Jason Frazier.
I'll second that.
Second. Okay. Any comments? Any objections?
Great choice.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then one more position for secretary.
I'd like to nominate Mike to be the secretary for us this year.
I'll second that. You willing?
Great, sure.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. See, look at that.
Excellent.
Right through things.
It would be really helpful if you didn't mind doing Union 31 since we have a meeting on June 13th.
Okay. Do we do that now, or do we? I thought we had this elsewhere in the. Didn't we have this elsewhere in the?
We have Stephanie as one of our Union
Right.
31 reps.
Well, so do we just want to do the whole thing right now?
It's fine with me.
Okay.
I don't believe it's anywhere else that I'm...
Well, so let's just take a moment and explain for our newest member, and by the way, congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. These are our other jobs. So we have this job, which is fun and interesting, but these are all the subcommittees. And we all sort of take varying turns and roles on the different ones here. This is what you have on the one side is what we were organized with for last year, and then we're going to go through and do it for this year. Just to give you a little overview, Union 31 is basically a joint committee that helps oversee really some of the business of the district. It's
Exactly.
really the simplest way, I think, to put that. So there's only a handful of those meetings
3 or
a
4
year.
meetings a year.
And that's really to deal with, we deal with the contracts that are at the district level, and we deal with a number of other sort of items. Also, we deal with the superintendent's position and
Yep.
things like that. So that's what that is. Administrative, the legislative rep, that's generally Jason, because that's what he's in the middle of a lot of the time, and gives us some reporting back of what's going on up at the State House or not. Administrative review is a person from this committee serving with the other committees to oversee the superintendent's evaluation. Do they do other stuff?
Any of the administrative contracts.
Administrative
Marie's
contracts.
contracts, Jill's contract, Christine's contract.
Okay. Bylaw is what it says, pretty much. Negotiating, this will actually be a negotiating year. So this is, we get to meet with the teachers and work through you through your contract. Buildings and grounds and capital expenditure, I don't think they meet much. We typically do most of that business here.
Yes.
Pilgrim Area Collaborative, that's our collaborative that our district is associated with, and that involves, what, 6 or 7 additional meetings a year?
We actually meet every month.
Are you meeting every month?
Yeah.
Okay, so 12 more. Policy, I think we're going to do a second reading of that. I'm trying to get a certain superintendent to tell us there will be no more policy changes, but she's not going to agree to that. So
Sure, I can make that ruling. Leave it for the next person.
That only meets when we have policy changes, and we just did a big redo of that. Yet we still have some more. But so the big lift in that is done for a little while. Cost liaison is pretty straightforward, and then sick leave bank is a committee that has yet to meet since I've been on the committee. It is there, and there is part of the policies that we have in that. So that's all of that. So I'll just offer it up. Does anyone have any particular changes that they would like to see to be different for this year? Okay. Is there anything that you particularly are interested in?
The CASA liaison, sounds something that I go to the meetings anyway, so.
That seems like a logical fit.
Excellent.
And then for, would you be interested in doing something with Union 31? And one of the things is that we need to have a representative at a meeting. So if sometimes it doesn't work, usually one of the of us is already there. But we need to have, we sort of have that wide group, because when we need to meet, we need to meet. So if you would be interested in,
Sure,
yeah.
that's fine.
Okay.
So are John and Mike and Jason the same
And
position?
I'm fine with everything that I'm listed as.
Okay. Mike, are you okay to stay on Union 31?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Let's see. So then, Amy, would you be interested in being on capital expenditure, even though
Absolutely. You can
it's?
put whatever Stephanie was. I'm
Okay.
absolutely fine with taking those
All right.
too.
Yeah, great. And then everyone else is fine with everything else?
Perfect.
I
Yes?
think the collaborative charter, we have to nominate and vote through, so Joy can send a letter to the executive director. So,
Okay.
Jill, are you still willing to serve as our PAC representative?
I would be honored to.
I would like to nominate Jill to be our Global Area Collaborative representative.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Jill. Huge help. For negotiation, Mike and John, you both are willing. It is a negotiating year. Yep. Okay.
Sure, that's fine. Everybody- Unless somebody else puts it crazy.
Great.
So I think everything else is
Perfect.
as is.
I like it.
Okay, look at that. Reorganized in 8 minutes. So, now on to the rest of the agenda. I'd like to thank Ms. Clausen and Ms. Rooney for joining us here today, as well as the paper. We'll try and keep it interesting, though I can't promise that for everything, but we'll move it along as we can. Anyone have any comments or thoughts on the minutes from April 22nd?
Make a motion to accept the minutes from our April 22nd meeting.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. I did not have any correspondence at the townhouse,
I received none.
none at the district. Okay. On to new business, although I'm not sure why it's new, but water testing results?
So I know that Pete has reached out to Green Seal again on a
Yep.
fairly regular basis. We have sent all the information to them. We just got new water testing results that have also been forwarded to them. So we have not heard anything back, and that's where we are.
Do you have, I assume the water testing results came back and were as equally perplexing as all of the other ones before it?
I believe that to be true. Gail, did you actually see them? I did not actually see them.
Okay.
Did you see them, Christine?
I saw them, but I do not have the background to.
But there were
Analyze.
lead levels that
Yeah, they
shouldn't
were-
be there?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm just asking because I'm going to give the selectmen an update tonight
Okay.
on
Yep,
it,
absolutely.
which means we have no idea of what's going on.
Exactly. Exactly. And I did just want to say, I gave Pete the night off. I hope no one minds. His daughter was injured in a soccer game yesterday. So it's nothing serious, but he was in between doctors and x-rays, and he was running around. So I thought everybody would be pretty understanding, so.
Okay.
We try and even spitball what our next steps are with the lead issue and with Green Seal and how we're going to remedy or attempt to remedy the situation.
I think I need to follow up with Peter
Okay.
in the next couple days when he's back in, and perhaps have to have a call with Green Seal directly.
Very good.
But I want to catch up with him first. I want to see the new results. and I think I have to get involved again, because it's just taken too long, and as pretty as the copper is in there, it wasn't just why we did this.
No.
It was to...
Absolutely.
And while we have solved many of the other problems, creating a problem as a result is not what
Was not the goal.
No,
It
and
really was not the goal.
And because we had that one off lead level test, you know, because of the timing of the water test many years ago, the system was designed to deal with lead issue too.
Right.
So there shouldn't be any of these issues, and it has to be, in my mind at least, has to be something going on with the system.
I agree.
Because it's not, as I understand it, and we'll have to see what the latest test said, coming before it goes through the system, there isn't lead. Yet, when you get at the other end of the faucets, which have all been replaced, and there shouldn't be any lead there, and in parts of the school where there shouldn't be any lead at all, because all the pipes it's going
Right.
through are from the last renovation.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make any sense. So the lead has to be being introduced between where it comes in and when it's getting sent out into the pipes, in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know how else you explain it. So
It's the only thing that makes any sense.
there's a lot of money into it to not have it sorted.
And
So-
time and energy and mental health and,
Right. And pretty copper aside.
yeah.
So that's my plan, if that makes sense to the rest of the board.
That'd be great.
Okay,
Do
so,
you think maybe it's coming, do you think maybe it's coming from the well?
no, as I understand it, we've tested the water before it hits the treatment, and
It's fine.
there are not levels of lead that are at all an issue. So if the water doesn't have, I think there's a slight amount, but
Very
it's
slight.
not, it's not anywhere near so the question that seems to come up here is there something that's going on with the system whereby it is extracting the little bit of lead that is coming in and not clearing it out,
Figure it out.
and therefore it's essentially introducing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how else you explain it other than the lead ferry coming down and periodically tapping the faucets. I mean, it's...
Do they think it's saving it up and when it's backwashing it goes out, or is it?
It depends who you talk to. You know, we've had some folks weigh in that's, oh, it can't be the system and wouldn't do that, but I don't know what else to do. I mean, if we want to solve the lead problem, we can turn the system off and just pump the water right in, then we have our manganese problem back. So it shouldn't, you know, because the system has not only treatment for the manganese, it has a pH adjuster in there as well, so that should make it less acidic, which means, because our water generally is acidic coming out of the ground here in Plimpton, and so it should leach less metal from everything it's flowing through, because that's where the lead, in a simple thing, the lead should either be in the water before it comes in, because it just has a higher lead, or it is leaching it because of the acidity of the water as it goes through, and each time it hits a solder point that had lead solder, it's taking a little bit with it. But we shouldn't have any lead solder, and in the places where it is, there shouldn't be any, and we've replaced all the faucets. So the only thing left is we're back to the system
What?
again. So I'll catch up with Peter to make sure I'm on the right place there, and then I will reach out to Green Seal, and either we will have from the consultant who took over, or I'll call the president of the company again. So. How do I get that to do? Okay.
I think you volunteered.
Oh. Okay, on to more exciting items. Let's go to playgrounds.
So I can't be coming before you with better news. And there's so many people to thank for where we are right now that I'm sure I'm going to forget people, and forgive me, please, if I do. But we've been working on the idea of renovating the playground for accessibility, safety reasons for 5 years. And we've actually delayed some of the work on the playground because we were having issues getting the water treatment system put in. And when we saw the light at the end of the tunnel, so we thought we really started to move forward on the playground. We couldn't be where we are right now without the Community Preservation Committee giving their support to an article that we brought forth at town meeting for $94,000 additional dollars towards the playground. That article was supported by the Board of Selectmen, by the Finance Committee, and by this board. Over the weeks leading up to town meeting, I reached out to all the different constituencies I could think of. The teachers were extremely supportive, the parents were extremely supportive. With Amy's work on PAYS, she could help me get the word out to people. CASA was extremely important in getting the reach out to the parents as well and getting people to town meeting. And then on the floor the night of town meeting, having a unanimous vote to support this playground really shows that the entire community supports the initiative. So as you can see over there, Peter has dug out some of the plans for the building that has some of the infrastructure under the ground. We want to be extremely careful and mindful as we move forward that we want this to be a forever playground. I know nothing lasts forever, but we don't want to build a playground that in 10 or 15 years we're going to have to move or tear down.
Right.
So we're thinking about where the current leaching fields are for the septic system, potentially where there's an alternative site to place one if, God forbid, our leaching fields ever go. We're also thinking about the accessibility of the routes out of the building towards the playground so kids can actually get down there and play. So that's the process we're in the middle of. Principal Beaudry from Halifax Elementary has actually reached out to Peter and myself. They've just recently put in an elementary playground themselves. This was, aside from Hops, this was the
Right.
elementary playground. With some ideas and an offer to help us out with the planning process. So I appreciate Mr. Beaudry stepping up and showing that intertown good faith, and we will definitely take him up on it. We also have had some parents come forward with some industry experience who are going to be our assistant planners, project managers for this, because a lot of the design and concepts are well beyond Peter and my expertise at this point. We can dream, but we have some parents who've actually built playgrounds before on a large scale in municipal environments, so we're very thankful for that as well. And we're waiting on now the private donors who've come forth who said that they would be putting forth some of their own monies once town meeting vote came through. So it seems like we're still headed in that direction. I hope to have some more information about that in coming meetings. We would love to obviously break ground over the summer and have the playground in by September. But again, we would rather do this right the first time than make missteps and a rush to get it done. So we are moving full steam ahead, but we're doing so mindfully and cautiously.
Okay, excellent. So I think the one thing that we probably should think a little bit about here is the fact that I don't think we have another scheduled meeting until
July.
July. Oh, we have July.
Yep,
Okay, that's
July's
right. We have to
closeout.
close out, and then it's September.
Yep,
Right. Okay.
correct.
So, do you have what you need between now and July, which I guess it's 5 weeks?
So, something like that.
4 or 5 weeks.
Yep.
Do you have, I mean, you've had authority to be able we provided previous authority to spend some money for the planning.
Right.
Is the town taking the old equipment down for us?
That has not been, I don't think
We
we've,
believe we might have private contractors who are willing to do that work.
Okay.
As an in-kind donation.
Okay.
We haven't approached the town yet.
Okay.
We kind of need to feel our way through that.
Okay.
So
I-
we haven't talked to the superintendent yet.
yeah.
Okay. The Halifax did take down the old Halifax playground, so it's possible, if the town
Right.
has the capacity, that they would help us out.
And then another thing that sort of came up, kicking around social media was the dinosaur.
Yeah, the dinosaur's been around forever. I said, that's going to be sad. Do people still...
And so
Everybody still likes a dinosaur.
An interesting thought that was thrown out there, and I'm not sure how we can do it or if it's possible, is to auction it off, basically.
Aw.
That someone may want to spend the money to as a donation to the.
I think the way we would have to do that is we would have to authorize it as the governing board of the school and its property.
Yeah.
the ability to release that.
Release it as surplus.
That's my understanding of anything that
Yeah.
is bought with school funds, we have to.
Yeah, it's like surplus
Right.
books.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you make it like a statue in front of the school and name it the Dennett dinosaur?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we,
Dangerous.
I think we,
Love it.
I mean, I guess, since we are meeting in a month, I'm going to just toss that out there, that why don't we all think about what to do with that? I mean, I think some of the other stuff out there, no one's going to miss.
Right.
But either, being able to put it somewhere where it's more art than toy could be sort of an interesting thing, or a way to raise some money. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not,
It's interesting.
yeah, I think there's a general desire not to just have it trucked over to Hanson for scrap.
Yeah,
For
the seniors, when they came to
$60.
visit, where they wanted their picture taken was on the dinosaur. So I've got a great picture I can show you if you like, all the kids sitting on it. You saw it? Yeah, it was
I
great.
saw that. That was
Yeah.
good.
So, I mean, it is
All right,
a
so-
bit of a piece for Dennett.
So, I'll have to look back at the authorization that this committee gave me, but I know it was below what we would need to go out to bid for. It was mostly for site work and
Yeah.
potentially for survey work, so this body has previously granted me the authority to work on your behalf with Peter to move forward, to get us
Yep.
to a place where maybe we can vote to authorize, putting something out to bid in July.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. All right.
Excellent.
Anything else on the playground?
Thank you. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. It was a very emotional evening for me. After the vote was taken, I sat down and I definitely shed a tear for the amount of work that everybody put into it, just seeing the town come together. So, very much appreciated. Thank you.
Well, and thank you for really pushing us along with this and being willing to lead it and get it moved forward. It's a very important piece to do, and it took a lot of coordination to be able to get us to the point that we hit town meeting floor. So, thank you. I assume we're still on the list for the power lines, because they look just the same as they normally do.
We're waiting to have the two trees, I believe, taken down.
And
then they
and
can-
Eversource was planning to do that as well, so now we gotta wait for them to do that, and then we'll wait again. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so it's for standing committees, anything from administrative review? Nope. I know we're fine with negotiations. Union 31, you wanna give an update? I mean, so we did the.
You can, I wasn't.
Do you want to speak to it, since you sort of led the discussion on the?
Sure. So, at the Union 31 joint meeting with the Silver Lake Regional School Committee, we met to discuss the superintendent search that's being led by MASC, which is the Massachusetts Association of School Committees. Glenn Kuchar, who's their executive director, came down and really led us through a dream session, a brainstorming session of some of the things that we would like to look for in an incoming superintendent. We also talked about the results of the survey that was put out to parents, town members, and staff members. And the committee was overwhelmed by the amount of participants who'd already taken part in that. I know we had a few more hits over the weekend, at least 100 more people took the survey over the weekend, because Wicked Local Kingston picked up the story and MASC put it on its Twitter feed. So we gained more attention. We've had over 700 people take the survey at this point, which is overwhelming, but also deeply respectful of the position and how important it is. So Glenn Kuchar walked away from that evening with some suggestions from the committee on how to move forward, and we'll be coming back for a joint meeting on June 13th to give us a package that we are going to vote forward to publish the position being open, seeking candidates. We're going to keep it open all summer long, and when people start coming back to school after Labor Day, we'll put a reminder out just to push people who might have been thinking of it but forgot about it over the summer.
Right.
And probably close it mid-September, and then start having people come in as candidates to then come down to a finalist list that will be announced to the committees as a whole, hopefully in early October. So we're moving right along, but again, it's a large task, a lot of moving pieces, and the amount of people that have volunteered to be part of this has again been overwhelming and appreciated. And hopefully there will be an opportunity for everybody who wants to be involved in the search to be involved in the search.
And then that meeting is at 7.
That is at 7.
At the middle
We're
school.
trying to let people get home. It's going to be a short meeting. We're just going to see the package that MASC put together, kind of what the advertisement will look like, what the posting will look like, and we're just going to authorize it for release. And that's hopefully going to be a quick meeting.
Okay. And all members of this committee are also welcome to attend if you want to, just like the last one. So, okay. Thank you, Jason. PAC.
We haven't met since our past meeting.
Okay. And policy. We have a second reading for those policies.
I don't have the alphabet soup in front of me.
Okay. So, so I'll just move the.
Waive the actual
Yeah,
reading.
Let's wait, so I'm going to move that we waive the actual reading for policies ADF, JFABD, JFABE, and JFABF.
Second.
All in favor? Aye? And then we'll move them forward. Yeah,
Please.
See, Jason's usually.
You
used to do
listened to
this.
him, but yeah. He took the night off.
So then I'd also move that we approve these policies as listed: ADF, JFABD, JFABE, and JFABF.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
I do not believe we have anything for capital improvement. Any update on the legislative front?
So there was some grants put forth for next year's fiscal budget by the Senate for small rural school systems, which we qualify for. This was put on the docket by some of our friends in Western Massachusetts, but as you remember,
Right.
a few years back, we signed on to that coalition of small and rural schools. I did hear some word that right now the budget is in conference committee, that they're trying to up that. They got $2.5 million for the small rural school grants for next year. They're trying to get it up to $3.5 million. When it comes to the actual budget, the Senate unfortunately didn't move the bar very far for Plimpton as the school district. One of the only ways that we receive funds from the state is through something called the per pupil minimum increment. We're considered a rather wealthy town when they look at our property values and they look at our personal income. Right now, they're only proposing $30 per pupil increase over last year's fiscal number for Plimpton. Senator Brady unfortunately did not vote to increase the per pupil minimum increment for us. I haven't heard back from his office yet as to why he voted that way. There was substantial movements made on Chapter 70 funding that focused mostly on urban and low-income students, and God knows that those students did need the increases. We saw for some school districts $300 to $600 to $900 per pupil increases. But these were largely in categories of low economic situation or English language learner situations. And for a long time, the achievement gap has been getting wider and wider between communities like ours and those urban districts. I just think it's really sad that we're playing one side of the table off against the other with the way they're handling the budget right now. To give us a $100 per pupil minimum increment in any other town similar to Plimpton would have only cost about $15 million to the state budget, but yet they chose to leave that off the table this year. Hoping the House Ways and Means Committee, the conference committee can increase that number from 30 to at least last year's number of $55 per pupil. So we're below even what they did for us last year. Disappointing to say the least.
Okay. And then we did have a series of single signature warrants.
Yes, John came to the meeting in May 23rd, the Silver Lake meeting, and signed 8 warrants totaling $235,744.67. Thank you.
I don't spend as much at home as everyone seems to think. I do it all here. Okay. Do we have an update from CASA? Probably not, but although we should just, again, thank them for all the work that they did to help with the playground. I know they were very involved in getting that done, so.
More than involved. I went to 3 of their meetings. They put me right up at the front of the meetings because they knew I was busy trying to talk to different groups, and made me very welcome. And when I felt, maybe that things weren't going in the right direction, or, that they always steered me back on course and gave me the encouragement to continue pushing forward. And I really appreciated that. Met some nice new people that I'd never encountered before, and
Great.
CASA definitely is doing what CASA is supposed to do.
Excellent. Okay. And then on to the principal's report.
Great. And Peter was kind enough to put together his report. There are currently 203 students at Dennett. Again, I want to point out that the 6th grade graduating class is a very small class, but our incoming kindergarten class is over 30. 39 at this point in time. So it's, it is probably only going to go up slightly. So this will be a very large class relative to some of the classes we have had recently. So I think we're all very pleased about that. There are some important dates coming up. There's a grade 1 and 4 field trip to the South Shore Science Center. The grade 6 World's Fair is also that day in the afternoon. Grade 6 field trip, Blue Man Group, which actually sounds like something I should probably go to supervise. Just saying. Grade 5 field trip, Freedom Trail. Grade 6 step-up day at the middle school. That's always a fun one. Grade K to 5 field day on June 7th. Grade 6 field trip to the beach. I should probably go with them to that too, actually. Great.
You gotta get all that.
I'm really thinking. I'm thinking.
can't do it next year.
thinking. I better get moving here. I'm clearing my schedule. This looks really fun. Grade 3, 4, and 5 to the Philharmonic, which is actually great. They did that last year. They went. Plymouth gives us free tickets to the Philharmonic, and we were able to bring our kids over for the elementaries. And last year it was a huge success. I was thrilled they offered again. They sent us a very nice note and said how well behaved our students were. But just the same, I should probably still go to supervise. June 12th, grade 6 graduation at 6. That's a lot of fun. How many do we have that day? I don't even remember. Jill and I will certainly do our best to make an appearance. I think somebody
But you're
else.
talking number of students.
Oh, yeah, no. Sorry. Yeah, all the graduations are at the same time, and I've yet to figure out how to split myself. June 13th is the last day of school, and our next school committee meeting is July 15th at 5.
Right. Great. Christine?
Thank you. We have just a few weeks left to go on our financial, and it's held up pretty well. There are a few deficits in certain categories that will be absorbed in the categories. For instance, telephone technology, custodial supplies. Special education is actually doing pretty well also. There are surpluses in contracted services and transportation. There is a small deficit in tuition that will be partially absorbed by that, and then we will use circuit breaker to the extent that we need to use it, and then we'll leave the recap for that. We're just waiting for all of our final tuition and transportation invoices to come in before we make those final calls. And then out-of-district vocational, funds were transferred from their special town meeting. After the transfer of $25,500 is used, we'll have a balance of approximately $21,700 that will be returned to the town when we close in July. That's it for the financial. Any questions?
So we'll be able to absorb any deficits in the budget, and we're still returning money to the town.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you for
Things
all
went
of your
okay.
work. Taking care of the
okay.
numbers all year long to get us to that position.
It's an amazing puzzle.
Really
All the
is.
pieces come together. But here's number 2 on the list for me today. We have to revote the 2020 budget. I cannot confirm that the town received our updated version, our version 2. So what was voted at town meeting was version 1, our original budget. And I realized that as I was transferring the system over for the new year, we were getting all the information in to confirm it. I keep a log of all the confirmations that happened, and I'm not sure if it was my error that they did not get the second version, but add that to the list going forward, make sure they do get that.
So
updated
is there
version.
any implication to us voting a new number tonight?
That we would be in sync with the town. We would be voting the same number the town has voted.
Okay, so that's all it does.
That's all it does.
Yeah. And we had sort of talked about this, and what I would like to see us do, though, since our intent was the second budget, is to operate on that budget and
Correct.
thus
And
return,
use those funds.
at the end of next year, we'd return the roughly $10,000 back to the town.
Right.
So that even though they didn't know they had it, they'll get it back.
Right.
So I
We can
think
make that happen.
great. Okay.
All right, with that being said, I make a motion that the Plimpton School Committee approve the 2019-2020 elementary school operating budget of $2,454,774 as the amount deemed necessary for the operation of the regular day.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Further, I make a motion that the Plimpton School Committee approve the 2019-2020 elementary school special education budget of $1,083,164.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Jill?
So in your packet, you have the grants and donations reports for the year. On the first spreadsheet, the grant managers have compiled their actual amounts for each of our grants this year across each of the towns. And you'll find the grant name, the amount for fiscal year 19, and a brief description of the purpose or how that grant money is used. And below that is a visual representation of the percentage of the grant money in the district total. So in terms of our three largest grants, we have IDEA representing the greatest percentage of our grant funding at 45%. The Massachusetts Skills Grant, which was used for the high school greenhouse at 17.4%. And finally, Title III at 14.1% at fiscal year 19. On the second page, this second spreadsheet represents the total state awarded amounts by year. So there are differences in the totals. On the first page, these are a number of different grants. Not all of them go through the state for approval or for allocation. So these are just the state handled grant award amounts, and they're totaled by year, but they're also broken out by town. And then below visually is a representation. You can see how the grant has declined since 2011, and there's a slight increase in 2019. And then finally is the donations as reported by teachers and principals in each of the towns, and the amounts and the usages of those donations. As always, we're thankful for the teachers who have reached out to try to secure funding for additional opportunities for our teachers, and we really appreciate that.
Great.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Hi.
Aye.
So I would like to just sort of build on Jill's discussion on donations. As you all know, we are purchasing new math textbooks, and we have all the old math textbooks, and they take up lots of room. So we would love to have you let us donate them to anyone who could use them, and any of the old ones that aren't donatable that we would recycle. We purchased them with money that you approved as a budget, so in order for us to move them along, we need you to vote that they're surplus.
Okay.
I make a motion to allow for the donation or destruction of our surplus math materials.
Great. And could you just say general curriculum materials? Because I think in the process of looking and discovering some of our old math, we might have discovered a few other things
Did
that...
I rescind that? I make a motion to allow for the donation or destruction of surplus general curriculum items.
Perfect, thank you.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
We all need a good house cleaning once in a while.
Yes, we do.
Thank you so much. And now we have our draft school calendar that we would like to take a vote on, and that was given out last month. I don't know if she sent it to you, but you received it last month. I'm guessing it's not in that pile, is it, Andrea? Were there extra copies by any chance in there?
No.
Nope, okay. So we're going to, I have mine, yeah. You guys want to share, or do you have it? Or does anybody have a question?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
We haven't made any changes to it.
We have made no changes to it. So the only thing that we usually do is on the top of the calendar, we usually put down the titles for each school committee, the chair. That way, when the public wants to call and write and send you Christmas cards for what a good job you're doing, they know who to send it to.
Is that what they do?
I get them all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. Gotta have a sense of humor in life. So again, the calendar is basically the same as it always has been. And the difference is that we will have November 5th as a PD day as opposed to the Columbus Day weekend because of just having it in general for voting. I don't think I had mentioned it here, but
We talked about it.
actually, the story I was going to tell, just because I'm feeling a little fresh. The young man who introduced me, his name is Joe Marisola, was a fantastic kid. And what I've done is I've developed a habit of inviting whoever's going to be introducing me to my office for tea. And so Joe came in, and I'm not sure he has been...
This was the gentleman who introduced Joy at graduation.
At graduation.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm not sure he's received a lot of invitations to tea in his lifetime, especially from a 60-year-old woman. But he was really a good sport and came over to have tea with me. And he was pretty nervous. So he's sitting at my table, and I get out my teas, and he's sitting there, and he's really trying very hard to do everything correctly. And of course, within 5 minutes, proceeded to slap because he was talking with his hands, and the tea just went flying all over my office, which was great fun. But after we got everything cleaned up and he calmed down a little bit, one of the first things he said was he wanted to know why I only called one snow day, and that he really felt cheated out, and he wondered why Christmas break why was he so shortchanged, because and so I gotten out all the calendars and I was laying them out. I was trying to explain to him the logic of setting a school calendar. So anyway, I don't think I'll ever look at a calendar without thinking of Joe throwing tea across my office, which was great fun. So it was great.
Probably would have done that if you had the
Probably not. But anyway, so the calendar is pretty much as it always has been. I think the only other thing that was a topic of discussion was whether or not to add the Thursday and Friday for Christmas, and the staff we're supportive of keeping it returning for that Thursday and Friday. That way we don't go longer in June, because that can be pretty long in June. So calendar is pretty well set. As I said, the only change will be we will list chairs and the committee members at the top.
Okay. So I would take a motion on the calendar.
Make a motion to accept the 2019-2020 school calendar as presented. Titles attached to the top.
Thank you.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then the last thing I have is the school committee meeting schedule. Last year, we tried to do the meetings every 6 weeks and then every month once we get into budget season. Mike was instrumental in really pushing this forward. I really appreciate it. And also, we moved the times back for the other 3 committees to 6 o'clock, which has also been wonderful, to not get home quite so late in the evening. So I think everyone has felt like the schedule has worked. I don't think anyone is missing terribly the extra meetings. The single signature warrants have been wonderful. Thank you for being willing to do that. Actually, we probably need to vote that, don't we?
For the new year, yes.
We will need to do that again for next year, for whoever's available. But if you didn't have any other questions or concerns, it's basically the exact same schedule as this year. Just moved to the proper days.
Okay. Just for everyone's benefit, can we ask that this be resent to the committee members?
Absolutely.
just.
Yep.
Just, I know it came last time, but Amy certainly wasn't on that
Yep.
last time. And we probably can't find, half of us can't find the email from last
Is it
time.
in your
anyways.
book? You put it in my book.
Yeah,
But
sure.
but even so, I think it would just be good just to send that on its
Yep,
own.
yep.
Just so we have that.
Got it.
And before I make the motion to accept, I just want to remind everyone that we are probably going to have a few additional meetings, even in the fall, in consideration of the superintendent's search. So with that being said, I make a motion to accept our scheduled meetings for the Plimpton Elementary School Committee for the 2019-2020 school year.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep, that was all I had.
And then, and just so you know, I mean, we always have the ability to schedule and call a meeting. So if something comes up that we need to deal with, we'll just, we find the availability and make it happen. So, but no, this has generally worked
Yep.
very well.
It seems to have, we really appreciate it. Now that I had brought it up, would anybody be willing / interested in the single signature warrant person?
Continue to do it the way we have, so.
Make a motion to authorize John to be our single signature warrant designee.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other items that we? Okay, there we go. Patient. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Well done.
That's 48 minutes.